Hello everybody. Let us see the last part of the topic of farm management. Now in this topic, first of all let us go to the objectives of a good farm plan. We have already studied that what is the use of farm planning. Now this farm planning or farm plan is to be prepared for various purposes. First, that is we have to use the resources very efficiently. Which are the resources? Like labor, power, equipments, irrigation, and many other resources are there. They are to be used very efficiently, means without loss and without incurring more expenditure. Another objective is that we have to make proper combination, balanced combination of different enterprises. We have already studied that there may be different enterprises on the farm, like cultivation of sugarcane, cultivation of cotton, cultivation of any agricultural crops, along with animal husbandry, dairy, poultry, fishery, and many others. So there should be a particular balance. We also have to avoid the excessive risk, and we have to make a provision of flexibility. Now, what kind of risk we have to face? There are different kinds of risk, like a risk of climatic factors, heavy rainfall, no rainfall, disease, pest, because of which some crops we may lose. So we have to minimize that risk, avoid the risk, and flexibility in case of prices in the market. Farmers do not have any uh, option to sell the product at higher prices because of various government policies. So farmer has to also consider the flexibility in prices. Farmer also should use the knowledge, training, and experience of oneself, also of laborers and other persons. Farmer should also use efficient marketing facilities. And the last objective of farm planning is that agricultural methods, new agricultural methods and practices are to be followed. Now let us go to the characteristics of a good farm plan. Now farm plan, we have studied the objectives. Now how we can know that the farm plan we have prepared is a very good one? These are the criteria. It should aim efficient utilization of all resources. Then they should be flexible. It is as good as of objectives. It should be very simple and easily understood by the farmer, also by the laborers and concerned persons like farm manager and others. There should be balanced production program in the farm plan, and the most important thing that the soil fertility should be maintained in such a way that farm plan is to be made. Farm products should be marketed with a view to get maximum price, and up to date technology, new technologies should be utilized, and also have to avoid risk of enterprises. And the last one, that is what is the characteristic of a good plan? That the farm plan should consider the goals, knowledge, training, and experience of the farmer. Means, as per this knowledge and experience, farm planning is to be done. Suppose the farmer has no knowledge or experience about a particular enterprise. Let us say, for example, sericulture. Farmer has no knowledge and experience. He has to first of all take the training, experience, and then go for that enterprise. Otherwise, he should not opt the enterprise. Means that should not be included in the farm plan. Now let us go to the another point: farm budgeting and input. Now this farm budgeting, you have heard the name budget. Every year it is presented by the government, state and central. So in this case, this is also a budgeting. So what is a budgeting? It is a budgeting of the farm. The definition: farm budgeting is a process of estimating costs, returns, and net profit of the farm or a particular enterprise. Means in the budget, the farmer has to make a plan, make an estimate that what will be the cost, what will be the return, and what will be the benefit. And as per that, all planning is to be done. There are various types of farm budgeting. For example, one is a partial budgeting. Name itself indicates that this is a partial budgeting means this it is about the outcome or return from the farm business, and this analyzes the simple and quick easy method to decide what are the experiences in the farm and what is the yield, what is the income. So that is a very short, and it is a for only short duration. So it is also called short duration budget. Second is complete budgeting. Now in this complete budgeting, this should be prepared as per the farm plan, and as per this plan, budgeting is made, and as per budget, farm management is to be done. So it considers all crops, livestock producing methods, and then estimate cost and returns. All these things are to be detailedly chalked out, and whether the progress is being made in the farm, that is also to be considered. And all these things like enterprises and activities are to be included in the budget. So this is a very detailed and complete budgeting, and this takes a little bit longer time to prepare, but it is very useful. Third and last kind of budgeting, that is called enterprise budgeting. Enterprise budgeting means this budget is made as per the enterprise for a particular business. For example, budget of sugarcane cultivation, budget of rice cultivation, budget of animal husbandry, budget of dairy science, means dairy production, like that. Means separate budgets also can be prepared. Those are called enterprise budgeting, and all these budgeting also can be combined together, and then by that way complete budgeting also can be made. Let us go to the farm inputs. Inputs means what? The things which are required in a business: input and output. There are three things: one is input, last is output, and in between there is a process. So what we use raw material like that, that is input, and what we get the production, that is output. Now in farm there are different inputs. So the farm management depends upon the quality of input, quantity of input, the time or the availability of input, and all that. So there are important two kinds of inputs. One is recurring, and another is a non-recurring inputs. Now let us go to the first. This recurring input means the inputs which are required every year, every season separately. For example, manures, fertilizers, seeds, insecticides, laborers. These are called recurring inputs. Recurring means we require it many times, frequently, and these inputs also require much expenditure. Now non-recurring, second kind of input, non-recurring inputs. This is once purchased, it can be used for longer time. So it is called non-recurring, means every year the farmer need not to purchase these inputs. But fertilizers and seeds and insecticides, all these are to be purchased every time separately for every crop. Now in non-recurring inputs, example, bullocks, farm bullocks, various implements, machineries, plant protection appliances, electric motors, oil, Oil engine, actually oil engine is required to be filled many times. Then hand tools, livestock, bullock cart, baskets, and all these. These are non-recurring, means once they are purchased, we can use them for longer time till they are wear out. Means when they are in usable position, we can use it for longer time. Now cropping scheme we have already studied. Now let us go to cropping scheme and calendar of operation. So budgeting is over. Now we have to practically go for making cultivation, but before that we have to prepare a cropping scheme. So what is the definition? It is the basis on which farm budgeting is framed and farm management practices are decided. So it is a cropping scheme. Or second definition, it is a plan according to which crops can be grown on individual plots of the farm. And what is the purpose of cropping scheme? Getting maximum returns from each crop without, this is a very important point, without impairing soil fertility. Means without losing soil fertility, we have to make a plan. Cropping scheme is nothing but it is a plan about which crops are to be grown and all other enterprises are to be taken, but this is regarding only crop. So cropping scheme means it is a scheme of cultivation of crops, nothing else. Which are the characteristics of a good cropping scheme? Means we have prepared a good cropping scheme. How we can say that it is good? These are the criteria, these are the characteristics. First, it should satisfy food requirements of the farmer. Whatever quantity of food grains, pulses, oilseeds, etc. are required, and what is the quantity of fodder required for cattle, that should be satisfied from the cropping scheme. Then only it is good. It should also give good cash returns. Money is also important. So income is also important. For that purpose, cash crops are to be cultivated like cotton, sugarcane, or other crops. So for these cash crops, we have to give, farmer has to give a particular area, sufficient area, then only he can get the profitable cash crops. Another criteria that it should maintain and increase productivity of the farm. Every year the fertility and productivity of the farm go on reducing unless we apply compost plus chemical fertilizers. So fertility and productivity of the farm is to be maintained, and the cropping scheme which has inclusion of this application of fertilizer and manures, that is a good cropping scheme. It should engage farm laborers. Farm laborers, actually it should be laborers, not laborers. So laborers should be given work throughout year, otherwise we have to pay wages without having work. Then green manuring, it should contain, the farm cropping scheme should contain green manuring cultivation. So this will maintain fertility of soil. It should reduce the cost of cultivation. Suppose we are of succeeding crop, means suppose we are cultivating cotton in Kharif and Jawar in Rabi, or Jawar in Kharif, gram in Rabi. Then whatever another crop comes, that should be cultivated at the reduced cost of cultivation. So it can be done when there is a sufficient application of manures, fertilizers, and all these things. It should improve, helpful to improve standard of living of farmer. Remember that standard of living is different, standard of life is different. Now standard of living of farmer means the farmer should be also in position to satisfy all needs of the family, should also have all facilities required for a happy life and good life, happy life, blissful life. For that purpose, sufficient return money is important. So that should be included. These are the criteria or characteristics of a good farming cropping scheme. Now let us go to consideration of selecting crops under cropping scheme. Now we have prepared a cropping scheme. Likewise, these criteria we have studied now. Now we have to decide for satisfaction of all these criteria which crops are to be selected for cultivation. The crops to be cultivated as per the availability of labor. If there is a shortage of labor, then we cannot cultivate much crops. Sometimes the laborers may not be available because of peak period, because all farmers in the field or in the particular village used to cultivate same crop in the same season, so laborers may get divided amongst the farmers. So at that time we may not get laborers. That is to be considered. A relative cost of production as per the market price. If the market price is less and cost of cultivation is more, then farmer need not to cultivate such crop. Then capital requirement for growing cash crops like sugar cane and some fruits like banana and others require more cost, capital cost. So whether that much is available with the farmer, that is to be considered. Then requirement of dairy, poultry and other enterprises, these are all called farm enterprises, which are allied, which are supplementary to the cultivation of agronomical crops. Then storage facilities, transfer facilities, market facilities, whether they are available or not, they are also to be considered. Then cropping plan of the neighborer, means the neighboring farm, if the plan is same, then that may cause loss. So plan should be as possible different. Then very important point, this point number 8, utilization of land. Generally 70 to 75% of land is used for kharif crop and 25 to 35 is used for rabi crops under rain fed condition. If it is irrigated condition, then the percentage may differ. So land utilization is generally more in kharif crops or kharif season. So that is also to be considered. Then the kind of soil is also very important. If the soil is of good quality, if it is a medium to heavy soil, then we can grow almost all crops. But if the soil is shallow, then the farmer has to grow minor crops or grasses. In heavy soil, we can cultivate double cropping, even triple cropping also. So these are the considerations for selection of crops in cropping scheme. And the last one, financial condition of the farmer. If the farmer has good financial status, he can grow many crops as per the season and water availability. So these are the criteria for selection of crops in a cropping scheme. Now once cropping scheme is made, then another step comes, that is a calendar of operation. Means this is the practical operations to be done for each crop and for each enterprise. So tabular information, what is the definition of calendar of operation? It is a tabular information indicating the type of work to be done on each crop, for each crop during the life cycle. For example, cultivation of jawar or cultivation of cotton, then list is to be made of different operations from land preparation up to harvesting. Land preparation, then application of manure, and then seed treatment and sowing, all etc. etc. Their calendar is to be made, date or week in the particular month should be written. So how to prepare calendar of operations? First of all, we have to prepare a list of crops plus list of enterprises if we are going to have. List of crops should be also as per the season. Kharif crops, different list, rabi crop, another in summer crop, another list. Then enterprises like dairying, poultry, fishery, etc. Then a list of all operations for each crop to be made for each enterprise, because list of operations are different. For cotton it is different operations, for jawar different operations, for dairy different operations. That list is to be made, and we have to indicate the time limit for every work. For example, application of manure, during which month, in which week it is to be applied, that is to be time limit, 1 week, 2 week, 10 days. For every, for example, seed treatment, 2 days are sufficient. For sowing it may take 1 week. So that time duration limitation should be mentioned. Also make a estimate of labor requirement, bullock requirement, power requirement, machine requirement, etc. All these are to be written in the table. Means number of laborers, number of bullocks, power, electricity, like that. Machines, which machines are required, whether seed drill or tractor or any like that. And lastly, finally, prepare a consolidated and comprehensive work schedule. This is a work schedule. Means this is a plan. Plan of what? Plan of different works to be done in a particular time. So this can be made for entire year, or this can be made for every season separately. Now, labor management. What is labor management? Agricultural labor. Who is agricultural labor? Agricultural labor is a person who undertakes physical work at the farm for wages, and generally 50% or more of his total income is from such work. Means a person who is working on the farm, means others farm, he is not a owner, he is a laborer, and he gets wages for his work. Now there are different kinds of agricultural laborers: permanent laborers, casual laborers, temporary laborers, contractual laborers. Many laborers we are going to study now. So as per their kind of laborers, they are paid their wages. Types of agricultural laborers. Now, according to source, there are different types of laborers. One, farmer family labor. Means the family members of the farmer also can work on the farm. His wife, his children, his brothers and others. They are not paid. They are the unpaid family laborers. Unpaid, they are not paid. But their income is also not considered, but their value is to be considered. So here the value of this unpaid family labor is known as labor income of the farmer. Suppose there are 5 persons in a family and they are working in the farm. If every person is paid 500 rupees per day, then 2,500 rupees paid one day. It is not actually paid, but it is earned. So this is called labor income. If the farmer had employed another laborers from outside, he would have required to pay that much amount. So labor income of the farmer means the work done by the family members. Now out of family, there are different laborers. One is a permanent labor. This is hired for at least for 1 year on contract basis. Temporary labor. Actually remember that word labor is not correct here. Laborer. Word should be laborer. Now temporary laborer is hired during peak period, means for a particular work on daily basis, and they are paid wages. Contract laborers, they are employed for fixed contract, for example digging of pits, construction of burnt, harvesting of sugarcane, picking of cotton, like that. Piece rate laborers, this worker, it is paid, this person is paid a fixed price rate for each unit. So this is a piece rate, means fixed price is to be paid for a particular action regardless of time, means contract is given. For example, picking of cotton, the laborers are said that the person should pick uh, mm, 10 kilogram of cotton every day. So as per the weight of that cotton, money is paid. So this is the like that. Now, according to skill, which are the kinds of laborers? One is a skilled laborer, another is unskilled labor. Skilled labor means who has a special skill and knowledge. He has a training. He is trained. For example, tractor driving, sowing, planting of sugarcane, seed treatment, spraying of insecticide. So these are all skilled work. While unskilled laborers means they are given work which is not much skilled, which doesn't require more skill. So, for example, digging of pits, preparing seed beds, it doesn't require much skill. So, they are called unskilled laborers. Measure of improving labor efficiency. Now, we have employed laborers. Now, we have to decide uh, their efficiency. So, definition, it is the amount of productive work done on the farm per labor, means what is the amount of work done by the labor per labor, productive work. So that is called efficiency. Now this efficiency is to be improved, otherwise the laborers may just pass the time in joking and many things. So there will be no efficient work, there will be no productive work. Then how to improve this labor efficiency? First of all, diversification means we have to diverse the work throughout year, means the labor should be engaged, the laborer should be fully engaged throughout year, means at one time heavy load should not be given, work should be divided in the entire year, so he can efficiently do the particular work. Program of work program is to be made well in advance, means planning is to be made, and then we can utilize the labor. Size of field size should be as possible large, so he can work more. The implements should be very efficient, it should not be out of order. If they are efficient, they are repaired at a particular time, servicing is done, then a laborer can work very properly. Then farm-stead arrangement, we have studied already. Farm-stead means where animals are tied, their arrangement is also to be done, and that will avoid the wastage of labor, means wastage of time. Then time of work schedule is to be made, planning is to be made. So for example, deep plowing is to be done at a proper time, means some works are very urgent. For example, spraying of insecticide, it is to be done very urgently, delay may cause loss. Then working hours should be as per the season. In summer, work should be started early in the morning, while in the winter it may be started little bit late, so as per the season. Then facilities to be given to laborers. Drinking water is very important to be given at the place of work. If possible, arrangement of carrying food at the spot of work is to be done. Otherwise, laborers will go their home for their meal, and they will lose time. Distribution of work is also important. As per the capability of the laborer, work should be given. Now let us go to the last point, farm accounts and records. Now farm accounts means all expenditure done and income obtained, that is to be recorded. So this will help the farmer to know whether the farm is in profit or loss. So account is to be kept. This will identify the weak points If there is any mistake, the farmer can identify that where the mistake was committed. Then he can plan in future. He can also work out the cost of cultivation. This is important. According to the account and records, he can calculate the cost of cultivation for a particular crop or enterprise, and other. He can also decide whether there is a need for any modification. So accounts are to be maintained, records are to be kept. Now there are different kinds of records. First is a diary. Now this is a small diary, can be kept with the farmer, and this includes operations conducted, equipments used, means small petty things, labors engaged, every day money received. So these records are to be made in the diary. Then cash register. This is the record of cash received and cash paid. This is important to be carefully written. Production register means what is the production of particular crop in quintal per hectare or per acre, production of fodder, production in dairy, production in fishery, whatever enterprises the farmer has. Feed register means the cattle feed, what is the quantity of cattle feed purchased and utilized. Wages, it is paid to the permanent laborers or hired laborers, that is to be recorded per person, name of the laborer, wages paid, date of payment, amount paid. So details are to be recorded. Seed register, this is very important. It indicates the kind of seed, quantity of seed, value of seed that was purchased. It should also keep the receipts of the seed purchased from the particular agency. Then in case of loss of crop, a case can be filed against the particular company. So this is a sample of village pro forma 8. This is a record of particular farm, it is given. Now it contains name of the village, then tehsil, what it may be, district, survey number is there, then name of the occupant means name of the farmer, and different account number. So this is a village format number 7. So then there is another format 12, it also indicates. Now remember that this is called 712 extract, Sat Bara, what you call. So this is as per the Maharashtra Land Revenue Records Right and Register. So this is very important. This is maintained by the government agencies and it is given to the farmer. Now yield register records the yield obtained from different crops. Then general register, this is a register of miscellaneous items like expenditure, land revenue, water rates, manures, fertilizers, machine tools, like that. Inventory, now this is very important record. It is a record of all property of the farmer owns. Whatever he has got a property, that may be land, that is building, that is water supply, livestock, machineries, equipments. This is all inventory. Then there are different farm records. Now this is the first 712 extract, Satbara, what you call in Maharashtra. This is a extract number 7 and extract number 12 brought together. So it is called 712. This contains survey number, name of the owner, land, tenant, all these things are there. Then extract 12 consists of crops, types of cultivation, land, irrigation, whether it is irrigated or rain-fed. So these documents are very important. So it is also called as a record of rights or record of land right. So this decides the ownership of the farm. 6D extract, it is the record of transferring the title of ownership. Means suppose the land is sold out to another person, then it shows the transfer record. one person to another. So it is called Mahabhilek of Maharashtra. It is available with the government agencies. And last, it is 8A extract. It is called Khate Utara in Marathi in Maharashtra. It provides a detail of total holding. So whatever the holding he has got, suppose a farmer has got lands at different places, that this extract will show the entire holding. So this is used to calculate total holding of the owner, present owner. So this is all about farm management. This was a very lengthy topic. So we have covered. Expect that you have understood. If there is any doubt, you can please pass your comments in the comment box. Thank you.